Morning. Good morning, everyone from Australia. Aaron's here. Evening all from a nippy Northern Iron. Northern Iron. If you do it like that, it's actually really good because it's just Northern Iron. Garvin Ranch is here. Afternoon from a chilly Wisconsin. Yeah, I know all about chili. Erin's here. Afternoon from all from Ohio. Ohio. Becky Callahan's here. Becky, come up as Becky Callahan. Hello from 6 UK. Dawn's here. Hi guys. She says the link works fine tonight. Here he is. Hello everyone, says Vivian. Here he is. Look, he's here.
Hiya, how you doing?
Well, I'd just quickly get on and
no worries.
through the. How are you, Gary?
Yes, good, thank you.
You having a nice
You all right?
Yes.
You've had a busy day.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I had a busy day because we're putting up a new barn and I was out there helping my friend John and his daughter Lucy and Asha, and we were all out there. And the first side where you have to put all the bits together, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? Took us all morning, and we got it wrong and we got it right, and we moved it around and we fiddled about. And when I then left at lunchtime and I said, right, I've got a meeting and various stuff this afternoon, I came back and they'd put the other side together and got the sides up and the back. Amazing. He said it was just so much quicker when we knew what we were doing. I'll take pictures tomorrow. It was really good. Ash was on the digger, lifting up the sides. It was very, very good and very brave. Joe's here. Good morning from New Zealand. Hope you're all well. I loved that post. I love your commentary when you're doing these little, little off the cuff videos, and the little ponies are walking along, and you're just giving us a little running commentary. Lovely, loved it. Keep it up, Joe. Lovely, lovely, lovely. If anybody hasn't gone and followed Joe's page, it's Royals Rehab. Is that what you're calling it? Go check her out on Facebook. Really good stuff. Jeanette Desar's here. Hello, everyone. Bonsoir. Martina's here. Hello. How are you getting on, Martina? How are things? Enjoying your course? Martina's one of our newest HMB pros, all the way from Croatia. And do you know something I have to say to you? We had a big meeting this afternoon. Gary doesn't know about this because he's on holiday, but we had a big meeting this afternoon all about our forecasts for the next year. And Gary, did you know we have got HMB pros in 14 countries?
Oh my God. No, I didn't know that.
We've got students in 14 countries, if you count Wales and Scotland and Ireland as a country, which quite rightly you should do. But all of the 14 countries.
That's actually quite an achievement, isn't it? That's quite an achievement, isn't it?
Isn't that fantastic, actually?
It's awesome. It's awesome.
When you think about it like that. And that's just the pro course. The challenges have been even wider. Way more than that. All over the world, the challenges. Peru, Japan, Argentina. We've been everywhere, all over the world. And that really puts the eye into HM International School, HMIS, doesn't it? I just think
it certainly does.
That just is amazing. We are doing so amazingly well, getting so many people on board, and we have to thank you guys and the Phoenix Group for a great deal of that, because people are just inspired and want to go on and become a pro and help more and more people that are around them. And all the time, every day, every single day, HM gets messages. Have you got somebody in this area or this area or this area? Every day. And of course we don't always, but yeah, it's brilliant.
I think it's also to highlight the importance of, as we've always said, owners owning it. So the easy way is to actually have an HMB Pro that's in your vicinity. That's That's the ultimate, isn't it? Because then it means you
ultimate.
can call on them. They can help and guide you and do the trimming and all of that. But if you haven't, the short thing is you've got to help yourself.
Help yourself. Get on the challenges.
Help yourself. Get on the challenges. Because so many people, and we do give an awful lot of information free.
We do.
But for us to be able to help you with your trimming, you have to have that foundation. Otherwise, you're guessing. It's so important. It's so important. We put the challenges together, and I don't want it to come across as that we're money grabbing, but we put them together for these challenges to help you and your horses. Can you afford not to?
And the thing is, if you don't do them, and for instance, you come on an online consultation or you put questions up in the group, you're going to have a ceiling of what you understand.
Yes.
Because you haven't got that foundation. And so
also as well, the online consultations are brilliant because that's another layer of you having that confidence and maybe us being with you whilst you're trimming. But if you have those consultations and you don't have that consultation becomes a teaching of those challenges.
Exactly.
Which you end up paying for anyway.
At breakneck speed.
Yes, and
we can't give you all that.
Because you're there doing something else, then you can't take on that information quite so well. The reason that the challenges have been created like they are is because Lindsay is a professional teacher.
Yes.
And these challenges
have been
put together to give you this information in a much more structured, layered way. So when it comes to you actually biting the bullet and either doing the trimming yourself or guiding your hoof care professional, you have all of the information.
Yeah.
That's really important.
It's so important. It's so important.
It really is.
Because, and it's a mindset shift. It's a paradigm shift.
It really is.
It really is, because so many people come into it with all these different ideas. You know, you've got all these different trims that are all out there, these different methods, these different techniques, and they come in and they go, "Oh, the long toe method, or the low heel long toe." I mean, it's just. It isn't any of those things. Mother Nature was sat there in her board. She was like, now then, here we are, everybody. I'm glad you've all turned up and we're all sat round. Good. Here we are. Marvellous. Now, we're going to be talking about Equus tonight. Equus. Right. Anybody got anything they'd like to say? Lucy pipes up. Excuse me, Mother Nature. Excuse me. Yes, Lucy. What would you like to say? Well, I'd just like to say that I think the horse needs to grow longer legs and longer neck, and it would have to have long neck so it can eat the grass. That's very good, Lucy, very good. And why are we going to need horses? Well, in the future with humankind, horses are going to be very useful to them. Very good, yes, that's okay, yes, marvellous. So how are we going to make sure that they don't bugger it up when they're looking after them then, Lucy? Well, that's $1 million question, isn't it, Mother Nature? That's maybe for another day. Well done, Lucy, well done. Thanks for piping up for Equus. Did you see today I put a post on the HM public page? Did you see the quote that I put up? Shall I show you?
I don't think I've seen it.
Look at this. Okay. Look. Hang on. Hold on, callers. I'm just connecting you. Here we go. So this. Sticking to Google. Should a horse with laminitis be on stall rest? and this is what will come up. Horses that have suffered a bout of acute laminitis need 1 week of strict stall rest for every day their feet were sore, says Andrew Van Epps. He's the
Oh,
chap.
good
He's the chap.
God.
That was in January 24, 2024. He's the chap that now works or has taken over the mantle from Pullet. Yes, so there we are. So that is it. So if your horse has been lame, needs a week for every day they're lame. I mean, it's just so far out of the ballpark. And we've been beating this drum for so long now. And they're so blinkered. And I know that they know we're out there. I know that they know we're doing this because on the, let me just stop sharing that. On the podcast that Pollitt did with Dr. Simon Curtis, he actually said, I know that there are people out there that are rehabbing horses by leaving their toes long. And they seem to get good results. And Dr. Simon Curtis kind of went, ooh, and sort of, went over that, kind of brushed it to one side. But the conversation that was had between these two supposed, well, I don't say supposed, revered, well-known experts in their field in farriery, Dr. Simon Curtis and Dr. Pollitt, Chris Pollitt, Professor Chris Pollitt, rather, with the laminitis unit in Queensland, Australia. Years and years and years of doing research. I actually got my sister who transcribes. I got her to transcribe the whole of their podcast, and I will at some point put quotes up there because it's so. When Simon Curtis asked Pollitt what he should do, what would happen, what should happen if what would he suggest, what would Pollitt suggest if he went to a pony or went to an equine who he suspected having laminitis. And do you know his first answer to Simon Curtis when he said that, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do, Chris, if you went, his first answer was, is it a pony or a horse?
What does that matter?
What does that matter? What does that matter?
What does that matter?
I don't know. I don't know. Do they know something I don't? Do they know something that Mother Nature doesn't know? Mother Nature, could we divide them into pony species and horse species? No, don't be silly, Lucy. They're all the same. Stop it now. It's what? So that happened, and then you listen a little bit later on, and he said, and then he just rattled out the exact same protocol that has been spread around the world like margarine, and every single veterinary college now produces vets who robotically repeat that same protocol.
Yeah.
Get them in on a deep bed, take all the blood tests, deep bed because P3 is in danger now. We want to get the x-rays. We get our lateral medial x-rays. We get some x-rays to see where P3 was in the capsule. And, it's a very dangerous time. You're damn right it's a dangerous time because if P3 is rotated, pal, that means that the hoof care professionals that have been treating that horse, trimming that horse prior to you arriving, have been tipping it slowly over the edge until finally it simply couldn't take any more. And you guys come along and go, oh, it's laminitis, it's terrible, and it get it on a deep bed, because in these cases we've seen P3 rotate, sink, and go straight through the sole. What are you talking about? If you x-ray it and you see P3 is about to penetrate the sole, that's not P3's fault. It never was.
Nope.
It never was. P3's not gone anywhere. It's gone up, and you took the toe off. And do you know what? Do you know what you continue to do? Take more toe off. Take more toe off. I can't show you this, but I'm going to say this quote to you, right? This was off, this was very recently, not long at all. Hang on, let's see if we can find it. Not long ago at all. And this was a horse that was exhibiting some mild lameness. It was just some mild lameness that one of our pro students was taking on as a potential case study. And this horse was showing some mild lameness before he was taking it on as a case study after this event. And so the owner got x-rays and she had some DPs done and she had some lateral medials. And in the lateral medials was not a jot of separation at all. In fact, the trim looked pretty good.
It was really good. It looked really good.
It didn't look bad at all. There may have been a slight little niggling little bit of arthritis trickling in there, but it was not much to write home about. And it was, and that was on the bottom of P2. That was it. There's nothing else. It looked pretty good. No real degeneration. I'm looking at it now. None of that. None. I'm not going to show you because we haven't had permission to show you. But we are waiting for permission, by the way. But it was fine. There was a tiny bit of what looked like some ring bone occurring. So this horse had some mediolateral imbalances, but in general, not a horse that you'd x-ray and go, oh my God, P3 is doing something crazy in there. No, it's fine. Oh, so do you know what they said? The horse was sent off to have its x-rays and its examination. And they said, I kid you not, discharge instructions, exercise, stable rest for 7 days, and avoid deep soft surfaces. Drugs, of course. Farrier, trim to reduce toe length all round and preserve the heels. Ideally, fit rolled toe egg bar shoes behind and heart bars in front. Heart bar shoe! Was it? Reason to call the vet, any deterioration in lameness. I mean, wow. Spent all that money on x-rays. You went all the way down that route. Really worried about your horse. You have these x-rays done. And it doesn't matter whether the x-rays look good or bad. Just because they have no bloody clue what caused the lameness. They're just going to say, I tell you what. Oh,
Heart bar shoe.
And egg bars on the back.
We shouldn't smile. It really isn't funny. It really isn't funny.
It's a shocker. Where did I get? I was halfway down the list. We just got to Martina. Right. Angie. Hello from Virginia. Hi, Angie.
Hi, Angie.
Caroline Williams is here. Hi from Canada. Hi. Oh, look, I like your avatar where you're proudly showing the stretch growing out. Well done. Well done, Caroline.
Good job.
Carol Colbert's here. Morning. Dawn Lim says, who else is shocked about a certain person recommends on rehabbing a laminitic horse? Are we talking about my post this morning, today? Is that the one you're talking about? No, right? If that is the one you're talking about, unless it's something else. Tell us if it's something else, Juicy. Catherine Brown's here. Charlie Brown.
Hi,
Charlie. Joe Kirk is here. I don't know why I said Joe. Of course you're here. I just said that. Thank you. You're very welcome. Jeanette says, oh. Meta says, hi, you guys. Hi, Meta. Dawn, she was.
Hi back.
Right. Ooh, it's flying here. Good morning from Australia, says Jenny Cox. Joe says, yes, it's called Royals Rehab Centre for Equine Healing, is the page name. So go and follow Joe on Facebook because it's lovely. It's got some really great videos. What?
I've just seen Martina's post to the next one.
enjoying the course and just
That's so exciting. We need more information. And you don't need to do this because you've got this.
Got this. You got
this.
Oh my goodness. That's fantastic, says Becky. Therese says, hello, everybody. I'm happy to tell that my horse, who lost his friend a week ago, yes, remember that, is now a very happy horse with a new friend. Oh, they really enjoy each other, eating and sleeping in harmony. That's lovely.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I hope that has reduced your anxiety a little bit, because I know you were very anxious about that. That's awesome. New team HMI. Yeah, awesome news. I know, 14 countries. Hi, all you wonderful people, says Caroline Schillig.
Hi, Caroline.
Becky says, oh, that's so lovely to hear, Therese. Yay, says Viviane. Sarah says the challenges truly are the foundation to the learning pathway. You've got to, and you've got to get through that, because you know, you can sit and watch 108 lives and you will get information from those lives. But they're not layered learning. They're just lives where we go through certain things. It's not taking you on a very specific journey towards understanding what it is that you need to do in order to make your horse sound, rehab, hopefully, as long as nothing major's happened to P3, and for you to never let it happen again. Melanie's here. Hello from Pennsylvania, USA. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Dawn says, I have learned and still learning so much from you guys. Help, knowledge, and support is second to none. Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. We haven't heard from Lucy in ages. I was thinking about Lucy today and I thought, Lucy needs to pipe up. Lucy, everybody thought it was Mother Nature, but really it was Lucy in charge of Equus. She was the one that made all the right decisions and suggested all of those things to Mother Nature.
You asked the right questions.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yes. Morning, everyone.
Right questions, yes.
Catherine Ardell. Morning from Australia. Sarah says it was the challenges and how they're structured that led me to becoming a pro. Probably the same for many others. Self-education is so powerful. You gain confidence you didn't even know you had. And I know I would say this, wouldn't I? But why don't you go on the challenges and find out? There's nothing like it anywhere in the world. There's nothing like our pro course anywhere in the world. Clearly, as we have pros from 14 countries. I'm going to keep saying that. Angela Garberg's here. Hello, everyone. Oh, I just missed Lucy. You can go back and see her. Leah's good morning all, says Leah.
Morning.
Did I read somewhere in the WhatsApp group that you've got? Did you make a post with the trim?
I didn't see anything with the trim, but I haven't gone that far down.
I haven't.
But the mare is now safely belonging to Leah.
Amazing. Mare and foal.
It depends on what you believe in, whether it's prayers, fingers crossed, the universe. We were so hoping that the gelding can stay too.
Oh, I hope so. That would be cool to split those two up at this stage now.
Yes, we're really hoping.
Viviane says, hey, not every vet out there is bad and recommended these outdated therapies. There are really vets doing a good job. Can we have a list? You're quite right. You are quite right. And you are one of them beating the drum. Would you mind going and working as an equine vet, please? That would be very useful. No, you're right. But you know something? It's still not good enough, is it? It's still not good enough. We are in 2024. For over 20 years, I've been banging the drum. Well over 20 years. And it doesn't, and those vets back then, they didn't have to just ignore it. I know it's difficult, right? Because they're like silly people, tree huggers. They don't know what they're doing. We're the experts, but they know that they aren't. And if you've just learned from a lecture that some person gave you, 30 years ago, come on, time moves on. We know more now. Because some of us went out there not feeling comfortable with the whole chopping the toe off scenario when seeing many ponies and horses not recovering, and started to realize that, in fact, P3 rotation has absolutely nothing to do with the laminae, with it losing its attachment to the laminae. Are the laminae being torn? Yes. Are they inflamed? Yes. But it was P3 rotating because the heels were left high and the toe was chopped off. That caused it. That bit got missed. I think the memo that Lucy sent to Pollitt and Von Epps and a few others, I think it just got missed. I think Lucy was out there just diligently writing this memo, sent it down, and I think it just got under a pile of other stuff. I got the memo. I found out. Lucy told me, and I started telling other people, which is what she intended. And everybody else ignored it. But not anymore. And I do hope that what happens now, because this is a movement, this is such a change, such a big change, where you owners are getting into the Phoenix group and seeing stuff you've never seen before. Some of you now are like, oh my God, I'm getting a bit jaded by it. I've seen so many Coke can feet, so many awful P3 rotations, so many terrible osteonecrosis situations. You're all getting past masters at seeing them now, right? You're all getting used to it. And you know the kind of things you need to say to these owners. But prior to the Phoenix group, and prior to you getting into that group, and prior to you being exposed to that in 2024, you didn't know all that was going on.
Nothing.
You didn't
It was all
know.
hidden.
It was hidden.
All hidden.
It was hidden. It wasn't hidden from us because we were dealing with it, but it was hidden from you, owners. And that's been the change. My regret is that we just didn't do this earlier. I mean, I was banging the drum on the public page for decades, but we didn't do this earlier. And perhaps if we had, Gary, maybe it wouldn't have had the impact that it needed to have back in the day.
Sometimes I think these things happen for a reason when they happen for a reason, and where, when, and why is all happening for a reason. And now is the time. Perhaps people are more ready for it now.
Maybe.
Whereas perhaps they weren't in the past. We'll never know for sure, will we? But I suppose we can't dwell on the past, but you think to yourself, oh my God, why didn't we do this earlier? Isn't that the case?
I know, but in 2024, they're still saying ridiculous things like,
yes,
chop the toes off and leave the heels, or don't do anything to it. Let the heels go up and stick on a heart bar shoe and stick on some egg bar shoes. You know, it's a joke. It's a bloody joke, because you go and spend all that money getting them x-rayed, MRI, scan, you name it. That's all going on just so that you can come out with the with the next steps of remedial farriery. And did it fix it? No, but that's okay. It's just that's all we know. We can't do anything else.
Well, it might have had a temporary fix for a few weeks, maybe, visually, because it wouldn't have fixed it. It would only have given the appearance of being fixed, potentially. But it's not going to fix the problem, is it?
No, because the problem is we don't have hoof care standards.
No.
Incredibly so. We have people trimming and shoeing and fiddling with horses' feet to their heart's desire, however they feel in the moment.
Yeah. There is
whatever
no
they
standards.
feel like, no standards, which is ridiculous when you think that the horse is full of standards, constants. But the humans that are dealing with it, they don't have any.
I think also, like Vivian was saying, not all vets out there aren't getting it, and she's right. But those ones that are getting it are very much in the smaller numbers.
Oh my goodness!
Albeit those people that are getting it should be shouting it from the rooftops, and I know Vivian is, but not all of them are. And even when we're commenting on vets, if they know that they've got it right, they won't mind us commenting because we're the ones that are raising those standards.
Yeah.
And it is hard because if we don't stick our head above the parapet and have these difficult conversations and highlight these things, who is? There is no one.
Which is why it's not.
We're talking about 2024, so it's not a comfortable thing to do.
No,
do we want to go out there and bash other professionals on the head and say this is not? We don't want to do that. Of course we don't. But if we don't, nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change.
Millions.
But it's not,
and
I think also
spent.
Yeah, millions. And it's not just the veterinary industry. It really isn't.
Oh no, it's the scientific world. It's
the scientific world. We've got the farrier and the farrier world. I had a Christmas pamphlet that came through the door at my mum's, and it was from a farrier supply company that I get my tools from. Oh my God, that is a multi-billion-pound industry.
Oh yeah.
You see all the special offers. Of course, what I want is the knife, the nippers, the rasp, and that's it. But the rest of the book is different nails, different shoes, different glues, different this. And do you know what? None of it is needed.
No.
But how can you fight against that massive industry?
Well, they're all wanting a piece of the pie.
Oh, of course.
So there was a recent, I posted something in the admins group today of somebody, a farrier in the UK, who has produced these particular pads, right? Because obviously, clearly nobody's invented hoof boots yet.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it? Mind-boggling.
Martina says the structure of the lessons and so easy it is to learn and keep learning is what brought me on the course, aside from being able to learn online. Yeah. And we've tried so hard to put together the foundation courses leading into the pro course, which takes you way above anywhere close to what you might learn at any other kind of school that's like, well, would be a hoof care school, which of course any hoof care school watching this would scoff away and be like, oh God, listen to them. It's true. We are going out as professionals who trim to the horse's constants. And if I asked them that, I'd say, are you? What do you mean? Are you trimming to the horse's constants? Well, we trim to, and there's no answer to it. We trim to keeping the horse in the right HPA, or trimming to the widest part of the frog. And you're like, no, like, do you trim to the hard sole plane? Well, you can't always do that, can you? Well, give me the times when you can't. No. It's no standards. No standards has meant chaos. It has meant unruly chaos throughout the world, and other people just picking up on other people. Did that work? Did it? when you put that rocker shoe on. Right, I might. Yeah, did it really? I think I'm going to try that too. And what? You took the toe off? Yeah. And I stuck a wedge in. Brilliant. Because the DDFT was pulling P3 through the capsule. Yeah. Okay, right, let's do that. Oh, it didn't work for that one. It's a shame. But maybe it'll work for the next one. It didn't work for that one either. That one abscessed terribly and had to be put to sleep. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
How's things? Caroline says, wouldn't it be great if we could get x-rays of every penetration ever so we could see the capsules? Wouldn't it be great if we had x-ray vision? I've got some x-rays I'm going to show you in a minute from Chloe Holland, because she said we could share it.
I was hoping, well, that's what was going to be my next comment, because they have a vet that is very open, and he wanted to see the evidence, and he is, and that is so promising. That is so promising, and great job for Chloe. But it'd be really good to see that. Really good to see that. And obviously, it's not finished yet.
No, we're
the hoof care
through.
Is good. The hoof care is exemplary, and the pedal bone is in a much better position for sure. But the hoof capsule is still in its state of rehab.
Let's just have a look at these. That one will have to be twisted over. Flip, go that way. I will let you in on it now. Hold on a second. Shall I show you now? Here we go. Right. Where are you? Where have you gone? Let's share my screen. Share the screen. Everybody who's listening to this as a podcast are now going to have to stop and look on their screen. Okay, here we go. So let's just blow this up. So this was a pony who turned up. What did she say? She arrived in July, just after these x-rays were taken. So this was a pony who was struggling, was having trouble. She had P3 rotation, and after the x-rays, that her owners decided to send her to Long Marsh Track Livery, which is run by Chloe Holland in Somerset in the UK, for rehab.
So she must have arrived just after we had our 3-day workshop there. It must have been just after.
She did, which was Chloe's. Chloe felt so inspired and fired up again by that workshop that when this opportunity arose for them to take on this rehab, if you remember, she said it was one of her first serious laminitis rehabs. Do you remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
And so she said, I felt, inspired to do so and to go through the process. So, of course, what is the process? Well, the process is that you have to, where are we? Let's take this line here. We can use, no, stay there. In fact, let me just move it up, and then I have no fear of you showing the other ones for a moment. Right, so click off that. There we are in Canva. Good old Canva. So just going to make that red. That's probably thick enough. So now what you needed to do, what you see here is but hang on, let's just get that red line out of the way. What do we see? Let's just discuss what we see. So we see P3, we see a hoof wall that is trying to be kept in line with the hoof pastern axis. So this is here. But unfortunately, that belies what's going on inside, because inside we have P3 in a very awkward position. So we have come back. We have the top of the coronary band there. It's also the top of the coronary groove. And we have the shoulder of the coronary groove there. And then we have the wall doing that. This is being trimmed back as well, but there's a lot of separation going on there. There's a lot of separation going on there. We got the Palmer processes are very hyperpositive. You have a coronary band that would give the impression to a great deal of people that P3 is sinking in the capsule. All right. It isn't, because if P3 was put back in the right position, we'd be like this. But because we look like this, it looks like it's sinking. It isn't sinking. It's where it needs to be. It's the Hoof capsule that's changing. So what do we need to do? We need to make sure that we bring those heels down by removing all this excess material and bringing those heels back to about here initially. Now, unfortunately, we were sort of going a bit off the scale here, because if we were to draw in where P3 where P3 should be, let's get you down here. Right. Oh, hello. That's the inside of the hoof wall. You can see what's actually happened. That in fact, over time, this hoof capsule has been disorientated. As the heels have gone up, this has been removed because they've lost their balance point. They don't know where to balance to. And so what we have is now P3 in danger. And you can see it's already beginning to take some brunt of that pressure through here, starting to remodel a little bit at the tip and degenerate. We've got no side bone or anything going on there. This looks clean. Doesn't look like there's any arthritic changes, particularly nothing major going on. We probably have got some mediolateral imbalances too. So this joint space here isn't particularly even, nor is it up there. But the point is, this was where the hoof capsule should have been, and this amount here of distortion, let's just put that in a different color. Let's give it bright green. Look at that. It's lovely. This amount of distortion here, and it doesn't matter where you put it. If we put it as equal to the tip of P3 here, is equal to the amount of extra distortion that is here. And if I spin that round, I'll spin it round that way. Stay put. You see, I was almost just right there. You see the extra is there. I should actually probably put it down here. Look, you understand it a little bit better. Do you see? Do you see the problem? And I mean, that's just basic line drawing on a hoof capsule, on a lateromedial x-ray. But you can do that on any lateromedial x-ray. Obviously, the more foot you've got, the easier it is to put marks in. But, you know, all this fancy gadgetry where you're getting this right and the center of rotation, etc., you've really just got to look at what's been going on here. So what you do is you go, because that was down here, of course. There we are, like that, like this. There it is. So what you do is you go, oh, let's get that into the right position. And then that will disappear because it will grow out. And what we're after is a tighter connection here as it starts to rehab. Now, when you're going through a rehab phase, you don't necessarily get it all right straight away. But this is where we're aiming for as we go through. Now look at this one, even more hyper positive. Do you see this?
That was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the images when Chloe put the post up. If that's not evidence of PPT, I don't know what is. You've got 2 front feet and the angles are completely different.
And look at the heels. This one's different. Yeah. If you look at the heel bulb and heel, that one is lower than that one. And yet, which proves that this one is why this one is at a more hyper positive position. Okay. Right. So let's go and have a look at the new x-rays, which look a bit crummy because of the Hoof capsule.
Yeah.
Now, remember, this is only just not even halfway through the process. So July, August, September, October. It's only been 3 months.
Yeah.
Just over 3 months, maybe coming towards 4 months. And look what we're starting to get. So if we look at these two, let's see if we can match this up. I haven't done this, by the way, guys. So I'm doing this live. I'm doing this live on the show because I've not done this.
That's very brave. That's not something that I would be doing live.
Isn't it?
No, I wouldn't do it live. I would have had it all prepared.
I didn't have time.
I know. And I'm sure everybody's loving it. I'm just not that brave.
Okay. All right. So there we are. We've got it pretty much. Where are we? Now, let's get P3 lined up. Yeah, we're not quite there yet. Yeah, we're nearly there. Let's just rotate you around a little bit more. Are you all right? You all still with me? You all watching, looking fascinated?
They're all glued to the screen like this.
So that is where P3 was. This is the angle that P3 was in on this hoof, right? But look here. Look what we've taken away. Watch. Do you see? Do you see what's happened? You see here? And yet we've still got separation down here. So that they would still be thinking, oh my goodness, take the toe off because that's what's causing all of this. But look at the difference. The problem that we have is that rarely do we look at one x-ray to the other. All right. Now, what do we see on this new x-ray? So we've derotated P3 and there's probably a bit more to come. But remember, we're building depth. So if you look here, can you see look at the depth here underneath P3. Do you see? Now look at the depth under P3. And this horse has been being trimmed to its hard sole plane. All this that you see, this artifacts that you see all over it, this is mud. Because she's living on a track. It's probably just a bit muddy when she did the x-rays. Is there a little bit more to come? Yeah, probably. But remember, we've not got toe wall on the ground yet. All this time, we've not properly had toe wall because remember, it looked like we had here, but once we start lowering this here, this is going to go up. You see? But look at this. So there's the shoulder of the coronary groove, and it's doing its damnedest to re-knit together here. It's doing really well. Look at that. Do you see it? Almost directly parallel. Will they grow that out in one foul swoop? Probably not. Oftentimes, it doesn't always run completely, but they may be lucky. Look at that. Look at that, peeps. Oh, I know. You've got all that depth now. So we're not got any loss of depth there. It's probably going to end up a little bit more like this when it comes to the end of the day. But even like that is lovely.
I think these X-rays were taken when the trim was due as well,
Right.
which is not ideal. So that the heels will come down a little bit more because it's been would have been 6 weeks since the last trim, I would say.
Yeah, and a top tip for everybody that's watching this: always have the X-rays done right just after the trim.
Yeah,
Don't
makes
wait
life so
6
much
weeks.
easier.
It just, I mean, sometimes you can't avoid that, I know, but
Yeah.
try not to wait. So in theory, what we would have had this horse been trimmed would have even been that.
Yeah.
So then now if we do this, look at that, guys. It's waving around in there. Hi. Look at the heel bulbs. Can you see my cursor? Look here. Now, I've lined these up pretty good. Now, they may go, oh yeah, but that's different. No. That's pretty much the same size there. But here, everything is being squashed up at the back. Digital cushion, the DDFT, the poor extensor tendons in dire straits here now. Can you see? To show you this. Can you see why they think that P3 is sinking? Because they measure the founder distance. All right. They're measuring the founder distance. But look, when we put P3 back into its correct position, oh, hello. What I've done is oh God, what have I done, Lindsay? What's she done? I know what I've done.
Well, both images are there, but it's not the one that's fading right.
All right, stop it. Oh, what have I done?
Is it to do with layering?
It is.
Which one's layered?
It is.
Yeah.
It's because it's. Let's just ungroup that for a minute. There we go. I've got it back. Now,
Well
do you
done.
see? Do you see? It didn't sink at all. It's not gone anywhere because that's where the extensor process was when it articulated its way around the distal interphalangeal joint. But that's where it is now. It hasn't sunk anywhere. It's gone back to its rightful position. So I think what I did is I faded these out too. So let's bring these back up. So there you go. Look at that. Isn't that brilliant? And clearly the toe is not stopping this re-knitting together, is it? No. And what has oh no, you can't leave the toe. It's terrible long toe. Horse is gonna trip. Terrible lever force. It's awful. Really? Look at the depth. Look at the depth underneath P3. Let's just take it from here at the moment, because that's what we've got on the X-ray. Oh, hello. Let's take it from there. And let's now just rotate this. I just want to group those together. Sorry, fiddling about. Oh, no, right. Look at the depth change.
So the angle change, so basically in short, the angle change of P3 because the trimming is being corrected, and time that now that P3 is in a better position, time that sole can build up is why that horse is pretty sound and mooching around with 20 other horses on a track.
Look at the angle of P1, P2 and P3. That horse is desperately wanting to get P3 into a better position and lean back. And that's why they do lean back, to try and get this into better position, because this hurts. They're walking around on the tip of P3. Now watch what happens. Whoop. Look at that. This is a red herring. It always has been. This is the problem area, right?
Yep.
But now we've built depth. This horse is more comfortable. She's in a better position. She's got lovely heeling angle coming in, which means all the laminae are knitting together nicely. So if we look at this part, this area here, we go back and have a look on the actual image. Look at this distance here. All right. And then we come back to this one. Look at it. No fancy heart bar shoe. No fancy egg bar shoe. No chopping the toe off. No wedges needed, obviously. No DDFT, clearly. Pulling P3 through the capsule, because look at it. It went the other way. What's the extensor process doing that now? Extensor tendon. Nothing that you say happens. This is the reality. Only you don't know that because you never, ever try it. Let's go quickly and have a look at the other one, right? Let's see if we can quickly put that on top of this one. Let me just bring that back up to the top. That's this one. All right. Hold on. Are you all right? I'm sorry, I'm taking a bit of time here.
I'm sure everybody is riveted.
Okay. Where's my baby? There she is. I have to tell Chloe to come and look at this. Okay, so let's just rotate that a sec. I think you can all see what's going to happen to P3. See, it's much easier when you're lining these up to make sure that you put them all in the same position. It's much easier to do that. And so rotate the capsule. And then you can pretty much line the bones up. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. There's no doubt about it. There we go. That's beautiful. Okay, let's rotate it back to where it needs to be. Let's give it its proper position. Ooh. Okay, so remember, this is in need of a trim. This X-ray was not taken straight after the trim. But even so, look at that. Look at that. Look at P1 and P2. Look at this here. Let's move that across. Watch the move. Watch that articulation. And now we're back into a sensible position. This is now able to grow in parallel to P3. Now, if I try and bring up my previous images, let's see if I can do that. Okay, so it wasn't far out on the inner hoof wall. Just a little bit further out like that. And now we've got outer hoof wall that's not separate. This was the previous one. But now if you look down here, we've got this, and that's the wall thickness. Look at that. Isn't that just bloody brilliant? So we've still got a little bit going on here, but remember this was after a trim, so we'd be more like, we'd probably be, you can actually see this line here. You'd probably be just about here. look at that depth that we have. Look at that depth. Let's all look at the depth. Let's all celebrate the depth, shall we? You ready? Like I said, this is the first time I've done this. I haven't even prepared it. Ooh. In fact, let's just get these lines out of the way now. You've seen those. Let's use this as our depth marker. There we go. Oh. Oh, I've lost it. What did I do? Where did it go? Oh, damn it. I deleted it when I deleted the arrow. Hang on.
They must have been grouped together.
It's actually better if I put my depth. Oh, I don't forget that one. It's going to delete it. Let's put the depth marker back. Okay. Oh.
Almost doubled in 3 months.
3 months,
because the hoof care's been right. And isn't that interesting? So in that 3 months, being trimmed every 4 to 6 weeks, that's at least 3 trims that Chloe's had the horse trimmed with actually out having x-rays.
Yeah, not working from x-rays.
Not working from x-rays. This is the horse arrived, the x-rays were done just before the horse arrived, and this is 3 months later. And it's great, isn't it, that these owners are willing to actually get these x-rays done so we can actually prove what we've always been saying. It's absolutely awesome.
Now at the moment you've still got, you know, if we put this in this position here, but even if we went from this to this, you've still not got toe on the ground.
No.
Which I'll tell you, which is a bit of a problem still, but it's okay. They're overcoming it. Can you see the diverging rings? So they're all tight here, and then they're diverging towards here, which means that this is growing at its normal rate, but this is slowed right down. And because of that, in just an ordinary 6-week trim where Gary and I would see very little change, and when we'd see change, we'd see the whole thing change. Yep. So we wouldn't see heels doing that. We'd just, in our trim, we'd just see a little bit of that. And then we come along and we retrim back up, and P3 always stays in the same position. But in this scenario, because we have no toe wall on the ground, what's happening is that you're getting this little fluctuation.
Yeah.
And that's not going anywhere, right? Because we can't touch in front of the apex of the frog. So you're getting this amount of fluctuation. That'll settle down. It will settle down, but it's okay because she's in such a good position that that's not hurting her, this fluctuation. But soon that will stop. She'll find the proper angle because she'll stay where she needs to be. The heels, what I'm trying to say is that the heels in relation to P3 will remain the same. The growth rate will even out. And you can probably see already that the hoof rings have basically calmed right down. You can't even see them. And the horse is growing in a natural HPA, hoof pastern axis. Isn't that just absolutely bloody great? Just one more time. Whee! Whee! Look at that. They say it goes that way, and we go, no, it doesn't. Look, see? It goes the other way if you get it right. Look at the heels. Look at the heel bulbs. Watch them change. We call it the foot relaxing at the back. Anyway, that was nice. I enjoyed that.
That was good, wasn't it?
Oh. Anne says fab demo. Thank you very much. I think that was my favorite explanation so far. Janine Phipps. Hello, Janine Phipps. Says, wow, great illustration. Melanie says, lives, but can you explain medial and lateral again? Oh, I know you said in the past lives, but can you explain mediolateral again? Because when you balance a horse's foot, you have to balance it that way and that way. Well, they're balancing their foot that way and that way. You can either have too high a heel or too much toe, or the toe being taken away, and then that disrupts the balance from heel to toe. And if you don't get the heels correct, it's not just about the heels, though. It's also about the hoof wall that comes around. If this is not in the heel to toe plane, which isn't easy to do when you've had a toe removed, then you can have either part of that chucking you off. And so even though if you think your heels, and often sometimes they're not even balanced heels, but even if they are, if this part isn't balanced further forward, then you've got mediolateral imbalances. And of course, that happens all the time when horses are not trimmed down to the hard sole plane through their quarters, and so they have active quarters, whether that be in a shoe or whether that be 10 to 2, because they've chopped the toe off. Those are your medial laterals. So medial laterals that way, and dorsopalmars that way.
And if that wasn't enough, because that was a very quick, if you're not already on them, get on the challenges. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
I can't wait
to attend. It will make way more sense on the challenges.
Is Lucy, Jazz says, is Lucy a real person? I don't think I've heard of this before, or have I? She is real. I think she's real. She's very real
in the Phoenix way.
All the wonderful professionals. What's Caroline say? I've missed so many. I'm so sorry. I've missed so many. All the wonderful professionals who want to find a better successful way. No, they are not included when you talk about professions, and we love you all. Oh God, yeah. We're talking about all the great other people. Not great. All the other people, who are just not getting on to the, not waking up, not smelling coffee. I started trimming the Phoenix way about 5 months ago with one of my horses. Just came out of shoes from former owners. He is now sound. Well done, Laura. Good for you.
Brilliant.
Thank you for all the love and support. I am going to. I don't think it'll do any good right now. Probably put them all off anyway. But we are going to. We definitely are going to. This is my new favorite movie. You got to go and look at day 108. Tallulah, if they weren't happy, you would see inflammation signs. All right, what's Tallulah said? If you had a horse with correct balance and trim that had an acute bout of laminitis from a metabolic cause, for example, systemic, do you see any structural changes in the hoof capsule versus incorrect trim? That's a really good question.
That's a really good question.
And the answer to that is muddied. Definitely, if you're trim. Okay, let's just take an example of a horse's foot that is trimmed to the hard sole plane constantly. It's got its toe in play, it's got its heel in play, it's absolutely fine. But we don't see any changes to P3, obviously, because it's never going to. It can't go anywhere. And if it's trimmed to the HSB, it's not going anywhere at all. It's where it needs to be. But does that mean that you're not going to get the horses not going to have lamellae that are damaged? Well, it's muddied, because all the research that was done often involves a horse that has rotation.
Yep.
So you can't define easily what was caused by the systemic issues and what was caused by tearing of the laminae because the heels were left too high. So that research needs kind of sort of that was good. That was stuff we did then. Let's just let's start again, shall we? We need to start again. And we need to start totally again. And then we need to go, but it's difficult, you see, because you have to put animals to sleep in their research scenario to see what's happening with the tissues. So in order to do that, you've got to feed them copious amounts of stuff to make them go into systemic problems. They can get tachycardic, they can get colic. They're having problems because you overfed them some oligofructose or grains or whatever. What they found in the research when they've done that is that when they've put these animals to sleep, is that they have found that there appears to be structural changes. Again, it's muddied if we have any rotation of P3 prior to this. But if they've taken horses that have, and this is another thing, because the horses that they're using in research, how do they know that their feet are fine? How do they know that they're trimmed to that horse's natural parameters? They don't, because they're not doing that. Again, that's difficult, right? So then you feed them all this crap, and then deliberately to cause horrible problems in the body. I mean, horrid issues. And then you test them, you take blood tests, and you do all of that, and you keep them alive for a certain length of time, then you put them to sleep, chop the legs off, and go in and have a look at the histology. And they found that there are what they call MMP enzymes, because there's enzymes in these matrix metalloproteinases. Should have got Gary to say that. And they found that these enzymes are part and parcel of that letting go and grabbing and letting go and grabbing, which is allowing that hoof wall to flow nicely down through past the face of P3. And they found that these MMP enzymes were involved in what we call nipper overdrive. We call it that because this is just a way that people sort of can see it in their mind's eye. But they didn't see any rotation of P3. But they did see some kind of structural issues with the laminae because they're getting inflamed. They're quite delicate, these structures, delicate and strong all at the same time, if that is possible, because of all the connective tissue that's involved in there. So the answer to your question, Tallulah, is that you will not find, if you've got a very good, well-trimmed foot and you have a systemic laminitic attack, you will not find rotation at all. But will you find structural changes to the lamellae? Probably. But they still don't. But the extent of that, nobody really knows. Not really. Even more crazy is that we don't know how it repairs. That's the amazing bit. That x-ray that I just showed you with that foot repairing, that had torn laminae from P3 being too rotated in a hyperpositive position. They were damaged. There probably was some systemic stuff involved in that too, because you saw lots of rings, but that's not what caused P3 to rotate. We derotated that. And that was Caroline, incidentally. Caroline, one of our pros, who's the trimmer for this little pony. And so you'd in order to find out what's happening, is that pony right now, what they really need to do is put it to sleep when it had its first attack, get in there and have a look at its hooves, give it some incredible magic potion to bring it back to life again, let it rehab halfway through its rehab, put it back to sleep again, chop its legs off and go in and have another look to see what was happening to the laminae. But you can't do that, can you? And like Pollitt said in that very same podcast, when Dr. Simon Pollitt said to him, how do they knit back together? Pollitt went, I don't know.
Because they're still alive.
That was only a couple of years ago. I don't know. Because they're still alive, and it wouldn't be very ethical to put them to sleep and find out. It's millions of dollars. Absolutely.
Millions and millions of dollars.
And I'm talking millions over quite a long period of time. And I've just shown you something that they are still not able to grasp. And that's in, 4 months probably, because she came in July, August, September, October. No, it's
3 months.
3 months. That amount of depth change on the sole. Wow. And you know what a vet said to me once when she was looking at an x-ray with that amount of change in the sole? She had the cheek to turn around and say, it's because it's compacted. It just needs a good trim, and then you'll see that there's no depth. I'm like, it's down to the hard sole. It's not compacted. Wow. Stop it. Stop coming up with excuses and just see it for what it is. That is a foot that was incorrectly trimmed at the beginning. P3 did not go whistling through the capsule. DDFT didn't grab hold of it and pull it through. It was incorrect trimming. Sorted it out because there are no standards. So the person who was trimming that horse was leaving the heels underrun and high and taking the toe and taking away the depth. You stop doing that. You trim it to the horse's natural parameters and look at the depth change. 3 months. That horse, had that pony been on traditional treatment, and it was but incidentally been moving around for the whole of that 3 months. That's not been on box rest. That pony's been moving, really stimulating that foot. If that horse had been on pony had been on ordinary traditional treatment, according to Van Epps, that pony would still now be well in its box for every day that it had been lame. So every day that it had been lame, it's still be in its box. And what would they have done? They'd have put heart bar shoes on it. They'd have taken the toe off. They'd have left the heel, and the horse would have got worse. They'd have come back and x-rayed it in 3 months' time, and they would have said, oh, we're so sorry. It's getting worse. This is the problem in these cases. We can't really get them better. And when they've gone too far, like this one, which was quite rotated, there's just no stopping them. We are terribly sorry. We're going to have to put your horse to sleep. That is exactly what would have happened. Instead, we took that this is the pony that Pollock was talking about on his podcast. The pony that he would have put in a deep bed. The pony he would have given loads of blood tests, taken loads of blood from to see if it was EMS or Cushing's or had loads of other problems. The pony that he would have x-rayed and seen all those issues. The pony who he would have taken the toe off to stop lever forces and tearing. The pony who would now probably be dead. Not dead. Alive. Very much so. And happy. With slightly ugly looking feet. Who cares? It's comfortable.
That ugly's temporary.
Sarah says, this is now my link to share to explain how P3 is just flopping around, ready for sinking. Melanie says, gosh, I hope Honey's x-rays in a few weeks look that good. Remember, you've got to trim before, okay? And maybe send me the photographs before. Give me a good week, though. Send me the photographs so that we can have a little chat about that. Tallulah says, thank you. It's very interesting. All studies seem to be with incorrect balance, as you say, something I've wondered about. Also, the studies, who's trimming them? Because it's not us. Not that we'd have anything to do with those kind of studies, because they're horrendously unethical. But there you go. It's so exciting to see Squires. It's exciting to see Squires who's now forming concavity. They were totally flat, but now they're starting to build 10 months into rehab. It's just brilliant, isn't it? Aaron says, I'm totally riveted. This will be my go-to video 108. Love it. And guess who I brought back?
Lucy.
Lucy. Okay, guys. Right. We've chatted far too long. Far too long. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been great to have you. Gary's meant to be on holiday this week.
Yes, my evening plans unfortunately got cancelled, so I decided to come and see you lot instead.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that nice?
Well, you may get me tomorrow night. I don't know, because it will be me all week probably, because I think Gary's got all sorts of things planned. So you may get me or you might not.